And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Crosstalk. This is a game from Nauvoo Games. Now, they made Insider, which is a great stock market game. This is actually a party game. It's called the party game of subtle conversation. This is a game that's based on the premise of Password, where you're giving clues to other people, but you're trying to be subtle because there's two teams giving out clues at the same time, and you don't want to accidentally help the other team. Let me show you. Okay, the players are divided into two teams, black and blue. Players are going to get markers that match the color of their teams. That's nice. A timer's included if you need to have it. And one person from each team is going to be picked as the clue giver. They're going to look at a card here. So here you see Hodor, Strip Mall, Donut Hole, Lise, O.J. Simpson, Adam Sandler. And together they're going to pick a word on that card. Both the clue givers for both teams. They're going to be doing the same word. If for some reason they can't agree, the game comes with a die so you can roll and see. So let's say maybe, for example, the word is donut hole, and that's the one that they're going to use as their clue. Each of them then is going to write a private clue for their team on a board. Now, all clues in this game have to be one-word clues. So here, for example, maybe the black player for donut hole, he is going to write munchkin, because that is what I called them as a kid. I didn't know that there was another word for them. So he gives that to his team. Each team has one private clue to look at. Then, starting with one team, the team is going to write here. And so they might write delicious. However, the black team wrote the clue first. So the blue team now is going to guess. They're going to be guessing using that clue plus their own private clue, which was given to them by their own team. And they even have boards. Each team has these chat boards where they can write things back and forth to each other so that they don't have to give information out. So maybe here when they got their thing, it said sweet. That was the clue that they have, and now they know it's delicious, so they say candy. Now you can also pass because you might not want to give you're like, I don't know what it is, but we don't want to give any information to the other team, so you can just pass too. Then the blue team might write a clue. So they already wrote sweet for their public clue. So now they might write, let's see here, bakery. Well, wait a minute. Bakery and munchkin? We're not sure how that works together, thinks the black team, because the black team doesn't call them munchkins like I do, and I gave them a really bad public clue or private clue. So you're just going to go back and forth writing clues until someone gets it. That team will get 1 point at the top, and then you'll start again and keep going until one team gets 5 points. That is the basic game. But where the game gets really interesting is each of the clue givers has a clue board. And you can give this clue board to your teammates once per game, once per round, basically. But you can only do it after they've guessed. So you can't give it to them right before they guess. So let's say the blue team guessed already, and so now I'm the blue player. So I'm going to say here, just so you know, the clue that I give next time is going to be opposite. That's what that means. And guys, you really need to be ignoring that clue because it doesn't make any sense. Also ignore your first answer, it doesn't make any sense. And it's really similar to your second answer that you gave. And really think about what black guessed for number 2. So you give all these. It's a one-time thing. So you have combine. So I might say combine this clue with this clue, to get it. Combine, ignore, emphasize, opposite, synonym, and partial. Hand it to your team. They have this information, which is secret from the other team, and they will use this to hopefully figure out what the word is. Now, the game recommends that you don't play with this the first time. I agree with that, but really it's a game that's not going to play the same if you don't use these clue boards. Anyway, the first team to get 5 points wins. That's how it is. I'm not going to show you more words from here, but there is a lot of words. I think every card in here has 12 words on it. And there are a variety of words from pop culture to very difficult to guess things to easy to guess things also. So that's how you play. Now, Crosstalk is a fairly cerebral game because you're giving these clues out to people and they're trying to guess them. And especially when you use that other board, there's a lot of thinking and double thinking that goes on in this game. I mean, the password itself is giving clues with one word. And so that's the basis here, right? It's not that hard. Although let's say you played the game straight with nothing else. Some of these clues can be very difficult to get with only plus your private, so 5 one-word clues. They can still be pretty hard to get. You have to be very careful and narrow it down with those. However, when you add in the other team and then both people are trying to give clues, that private clue is pretty important. That private clue is something that you're giving the other person to say, hey, my other clues are going to kind of build off of this clue, and so you need to think about this clue in the context of other ones, and I want to give you this one because this one helps a lot, and I definitely don't want to give that to the other team. And it's really frustrating when the other team will give your private clue as one of their public clues, which cuts your feet out right from underneath you, but it happens. So you got to think carefully about the private clue that you give. And again, these private clues are one-word clues, can't be proper nouns, can't be initials, etc., as in most games. So there's that going on. And then you got to listen to the clues the other team is giving, but not only the clues that they're giving, the guesses. And I think that this game actually, that the board where you write down the clues, that's great. Everyone can look at that and reference it. I really wish that they also had a board where you wrote down people's guesses. You can write those on your own little thing, and you should, because it's important to remember what the other guesses were. I would have added that to the main board in the middle, each team's guess. So you have this, and it's a decent game. I think this board, the clue board, is what pushes it over the edge to a much better game. Because when you add this and then you're like, okay, well, ignore this. It's the opposite of the clue I just gave. But the other team knows that you might have said that. So they're almost disregarding your clues at this point. But at the same time, not really. They're thinking, okay, did he say opposite? Sometimes it's say disregard this clue. Banana has nothing to do with anything. But at the same time, if you do say disregard a clue, you're also not helping your team either. I've used a disregard a clue because sometimes a clue, which you thought was very obvious, is pushing them off in the wrong direction. I'm like, you know what? Forget about that clue. That clue is just not going to work. And because sometimes in the games we played, someone gave a clue. For example, there was nail biter. And they said, like a thriller. Because a thriller is a nail-biting movie. And we got off on this whole, what kind of movie is it? Is it Under Siege? Is it this movie? And it was just, we were going off on this rabbit trail of what movie, and that wasn't actually the clue. The clue was nail biter. While we couldn't understand the other team, because the other team was talking about, eating fingers. And we're like, oh, is there a movie where someone ate a finger? No, it was a nail biter. So I find that clue board's intriguing. Is when do you give it out? Do you give it out right after the first clue to kind of give you some heads up? Or do you wait till after the third clue and then give out a pile of information, but that may be too late? A lot of times that I played this, a lot of rounds, no one's guessed anything because there's just been that going on. Sometimes it's been guessed pretty quickly. A lot of that depends on how easy that initial word is. Now, who's going to like this game? You know what? Not everyone. In fact, I think there's going to be a lot of people who dislike this game, because I think there's too many layers in it for most people. Now, for me, I really enjoyed it. I really like this back and forth. I like trying to think here and say, okay, they said that, and so this could match with that, and what are they saying? That's intriguing, but I don't think this is a mass market game, for example. I think a lot of people are going to play it. Maybe they'll play the base game, but once you add in that clues, I think a lot of people are going to be out. Now, I think it's very intriguing. The people who like it are going to love it, right? Because it offers that extra level, that the opposite of this clue, join these clues together. And I actually love being the clue giver way more than the person getting the clues, because I like trying to figure out cool ways to show how clues work together. And I find that fascinating. And I like the fact that the game also is split with teams. But I think some people who like to get in party games and they want to do some thinking are probably going to fall to things like code names and such, where there's still that thinking, but it's not something where you have to listen to every single thing that's said at every single point in time and remember all of it. Because this game you do. Every word spoken matters. Now, granted, there's 12 to 13 words possible spoken, and when you add that clue board in, even more words and things mixed together. And I find that a fascinating puzzle to open and get into. So if you like a more advanced party game, because that's really what this is. If you like Codenames, but you think Codenames is kind of simplistic, and you want something more advanced than that, then this will please you like it did me. It's an interesting game. Like I said, not for everyone, but I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. Crosstalk. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Excuse me, old chap. Would you shut the door, please?
Dear